don't touch me. मारने आ रहे थे तुम इल्जाम लगा लोगे तो हम तो कहीं के ना रहेंगे, जेल जाएंगे सीधे.
Nah, hold on a minute. You see, this is the thing that I don't understand sometimes, right? When it comes to people from different cultures, religions, the whole shebang. And it irritates the hell out of me, you know, because, like, hold on a minute. So I don't know what bro has gone and told mum, but he's obviously told us some sort of context about when Kimberly told the brother, "Don't touch me." And it doesn't even matter what the context is. I will tell you this now, generally speaking, when you're speaking to a woman and you say to her, "Hey man, so-and-so happened," and then I put my hand, she said, "Oh, don't touch me," right? Usually a woman will happily explain to you why that woman did not want you to touch her. They'll give you some sort of reasoning or whatnot, or some sort of, assumption of maybe the situation. And therefore they say to you, "You know what, maybe next time just keep your hands to yourself." That's how women would generally tell you, if you tell them that this happened with another woman. It doesn't even matter whether you're in the right, you're in the wrong, all that kind of things. They'll be like, "Listen, it's better to protect yourself rather than not." So in this situation here, the mother, you're telling me that she's going to defend her son for putting his hand on Kimberly just because of whatever nonsense that he has told her. That is outrageous. Too busy worried about the fact that they'll go to jail? Is this what... No, you should be educating your son on what he can and cannot do. But this is the problem when it comes to cultural differences. In some cultures, clearly, put your hands on a woman in any form is A-OK, and there is no consequences whatsoever. And when that happens, it's peak. And this is why sometimes we've got to look at it. Not all women suit all cultures. It's the same as like not all people of color suit all cultures, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mean? I could go to a certain location, maybe in the southern border of the States, or go to a certain location in some country around in Europe and whatnot, and then maybe like, "Yeah, nah, you ain't got nowhere near my data. Because one, you're too dark, and because you're too dark, I know the wood is too big." Yeah? Yeah, I thought that was funny still. The wood is really small, I'm gonna lie to you, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, mine was tiny. Anyway, with that being said, let's get appropriate real quick. Point being is that it's actually quite disgusting to know that there are still parts of the world where women aren't allowed to have consent, aren't allowed to have their own self-respect, that they are told this and that, and they are easily able to be taken advantage of. And it is so sad, just so sad. And I can, and some of us can relate in other aspects, I mean, I can relate in terms of being a very handsome, manly person, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, anyway, let's move on to the next point.
बोल के और इतना बड़ा फंक्शन है, शादी कोई मजाक है क्या? वो पल्ले नहीं पड़ा।
You know when my man is ready to take it, he can take it from his mum, but when the brother comes in, game over.
तू बकवास कर रहा है, बोल रहा है तभी छुपी हो तभी से
इसको क्यों जपेटे में ले रहा है?
तो ये कूद रहा है, मैं थोड़ी कूद रहा हूं उसके बीच में.
I promise you now, TJ's had an issue with his brother for years. I'm telling you now, these two have never got along for the most part. His brother's always come in and just done a madness. If anything, his brother's probably just jealous of him in general in life, to be honest with you. That's the vibe that I get, But at the end of the day, the mum coming out with all these accusations and all these kind of things, despite the fact that I do agree with something that she's saying, it's just more annoying because her opinions aren't necessarily based on her opinions. Her opinions are based on because the brother's gone off and told some complete madness to the mother. Complete madness that is unnecessary. Just because he's got a problem with his brother's wife-to-be. I mean, but I do agree though, is their marriage a joke? Potentially, yes. Potentially, of course, because there are things in their relationship that just doesn't seem as if they are compatible. So I do agree with it. It's just the context of how it's gone about. It's very spiteful. It's unnecessary. Childish.
Better to go.
You see what I mean? The way he was like, "I've been sitting here quietly." No, you haven't. She gets up, she leaves, and he's always got something to say. His brother's a big problem. He's a big problem. The only way this relationship is ever going to work is if TJ decides to walk away from his family. Because at the end of the day, that brother's always going to be an issue. And the saddest thing about it is that it's not the family that's the issue, it's just the brother. But sometimes that one person makes it into an issue, so therefore it's the whole family, not just the one person, which is where he gets extremely peak for TJ. I mean, to be honest with you, would I have walked out at that moment in time? Probably yes. Because I don't want to be sitting there and listening to people shouting and screaming about me, and I have no idea what they're saying. So therefore, I can't even defend myself. Why? I would have got up and left too. What am I doing here, wasting my time here? Come on now, man. Just keep it moving.
वो कहती है, I don't like your family. I don't want to live with your family.
This brother, man, he's a snitch. He's a snitch. Ooh, but he's definitely twisting things though. He's definitely spinning the narrative on it, so it comes out even more savage than what it was, or what it is. Does anyone have a sibling like this? Was like, yo, if I had a sibling like this, man, that sibling would not be my sibling anymore. That sibling would be lucky if they were still breathing. I'm not gonna lie to you. No, I'm joking. But I put them in their place. I'm like, bruh, nah, don't be messing with what's mine, bruh. Yeah. Come on now. Anyway, man, we continue.
About TJ. I feel bad because I feel like this is all my fault. But I won't live in this environment. I grew up in a toxic household. I'm not.
I mean, listen, the saddest thing about it is for me, I can't really sit here and say that this is all of Kimberly's fault. Kimberly had a conversation with the brother. Conversation didn't go well. Then they tried to revisit the conversation with brother, TJ, and herself. Conversation didn't go well again because the brother was still stuck in his ways. Brother's come home. He spread a whole lot of madness to mum. And God knows who else lives in the house. So if anything, to be honest with you, as much as I'd love to sit and say, hey, this is all your fault, it's actually not. It's the brother. He's got an issue with you. If you ask me, he just wants to tap you. If you ask me personally. You know what I'm saying? He wants a lot of it. He's got very jealous tendencies. Very jealous tendencies. But at the same time, though, but then again, though, what we don't know is this. If Kimberly had come into the household with a different energy, if she wasn't so needy to the things that she wanted, she wasn't so precise to the things that she wanted, she wasn't so to the things that she wanted, if she was so much more appreciative, we don't know if the situation would have been different. Because I still wonder, even if she come in there with all the lovely manners, if she came in there and didn't have a whole history about the ceiling being up and down, all that kind of stuff, I do wonder if the brother would have been different. But also at the same time, let's not forget when she did come in the house that time and they had a full-blown argument, the saddest thing about it is that she had the argument in front of everybody. Not necessarily in front of them, but everybody could hear everything that was going down. And then, of course, TJ then went and relayed the information to the family, told everything that went down, which definitely didn't help their case. So obviously there are parts here that there's a build-up of where she had an argument with him in the house, which she shouldn't have had. Then there's a part where obviously he went in and told the family the situation, which he should have never had because your relationship should be between the two of you. And then on top of that, he then allowed his brother to have a word with her, which again should have never happened. And now we're in the situation here. So there's been a build-up on all parties. It is not just one single person, do you see what I'm saying? But again, though, I still have to go back to the same question. If Kimberly came in there with the right attitude with the brother, would you have still been the same? I question that. I just think it's based on the way TJ always reacts to his brother. He either reacts that way purely because he's just mad in love with Kimmy and doesn't want to lose her, or he reacts like that because generally speaking, him and his brother always had issues because his brother is a very interesting guy. You let me know what you think about that little cheekiness in the comment section, please. Come on now.
I do personally think that this marriage is going to create a havoc.
Despite the fact that I agree that there's elements to the marriage that will do that, you don't help the situation whatsoever. And that's the grand scheme of it. Now listen, I'm not going to sit and say that the brother's wrong for calling out Kim and he's wrong for what he's saying, because maybe a lot of things he's saying have a lot of truth behind it. But the way he's going about it is unacceptable. The way he's going about it is only going to push his brother even closer to Kimberly rather than away from Kimberly. And his only hope is that he's pushing Kimberly away from the family. Now, of course, in next week's preview, we do see that Kimberly decides to walk away and says, no, this isn't going to work for me, blah, blah, blah. She gets in a taxi. But that's just next week's preview. We got to wait until we find out what happens, obviously, by the end of the season, just what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, though, if this brother has a plan to sabotage his own brother's marriage, for me personally, that is cruel as F. Despite how I may disagree with someone's partner, I would never do that, because at the end of the day, it's up to them to recognize their own potential mistake. Because at the end of the day, what you think is their potential mistake may not even be a mistake. No one should ever get in the way of somebody else's love. But then again, like I said at the same time, but then again, there are situations where it's necessary. It is necessary, but we're not going to talk about those situations, you know what I'm saying? That's a whole different conversation. But either way, though, you guys let me know what you're thinking down below, and we'll talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.